What's going on, folks? Let me go ahead and get this out of the way right quick. Sorry for the long ass title, but I just wanted to make sure, and I really wanted to cover my ass. The thing is, with this whole business is with the election in 2020, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. But when people say, "Oh, well, Trump is going to, he isn't going to leave, basically. Trump isn't going to leave. He's going to make himself dictator for life." Now, this is not a one-to-one comparison, and I'm sure that people were going to say, well, actually, this was taken out of context. This was taken out of complete context. And I'll say, yeah, probably so. But the thing is that you're probably going to be sniffing your own farts, and you're going to look like an absolute dipstick when I doubt that this is going to happen, but I'll get it this way, is to think that Trump is going to, declare himself dictator for life and want to, lock down the country is ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. At least to me, because of course I say this. Hey, what's going on, Rendondonium? This is just going to be a quickie. I meant to record this, but oh well, screw it. I'll just have this as a stream. It'll just be a shorty, though. It'll just be a shorty, Rendondonian. Okay, so basically, I'll cut to the chase here. Basically, remember back in 2015 when conservatives and, a lot of the talk radio folks, Rush Limbaugh and all those types had their panties in a twist about Operation Jade Helm, and that Barack Obama was going to use Operation Jade Helm to make himself dictator. And it was utter bollocks, as you Brits may say. It was utter bollocks. It never happened. The reason I say is that Trump is not going to declare him, just because he said one comment and says, "I don't like to lose." That's fucking straw man shit. I don't give a shit what you say. It's a straw man to be like, "Oh, well, Trump is going to declare himself dictator for life." Oh, Rex 84? Okay, well, let me take a look. Okay, well, let me see here. Rex 84, is that what it is? Rex 84. Oh, Readiness Exercise 1984. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that could happen too, yeah. I've never heard of Rex 84. I'm just so boomer, aren't I? I'm very boomer. Or just retarded. Either way. That's fine. I've never heard of classified scenario drill developed by Ronald Reagan, Ollie North. Oh, boy. Couple of winners there. Existence of a master military contingency plan. Interesting. Oh, wow. So they break up. So the regional Rex 84. Oh, wow. So this is for the FEMA camps and all this. Holy crap. So okay, it's located. Okay. Wow. So this is like, you're trying to break it down of like Germany now. So you're doing like one would be located in Boston. 2 would be located in New York City. 3 in Philly. 4 in Atlanta. 5 in Chicago. 7 in Kansas City. 8 in Denver. Oh, sorry. I missed 6 there, yeah. 6 would be Denton, Texas. Why Denton? Denton's kind of small. It's like, Kansas City's fairly big. Denver, Oakland. Why Oakland? Huh? It doesn't. Okay. Huh. Doesn't make any sense. Okay. But anyway, yeah. To me, it's utter bollocks to be like, oh, well. What has Trump done? The thing is, if Trump was going to go full on Nixonian, people would already be dead, well, people are already dead, but it's like by the hands of, the National Guard and everything else. And of course, the military is against him because of the comments allegedly that he said about the military and everything else like that. I mean, once again, we just, all the stops being pulled out. I'm not going to sit here and wave a MAGA Pete flag and whatnot. Ultimately, I support Trump purely on the basis of accelerationism. If he was actually going to implement like a Rex 84 type thing, or some sort of Operation Jade Helm type of thing, all the better for it. Instead of wasting your time with, Joe Biden, who will make things marginally better, but ultimately he will. I mean, it's going to be Kamala Harris, basically. I think that, a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence that Joe Biden will even survive his first term. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's utter bollocks where it's just like, they think that Trump is going to, do this. I mean, to me, this is the same type of shit that happened back in 2000. For those that remember the Bush-Gore election and all the business that happened with the hanging Chads. And I know that there's a much larger story. I'm sure that people like Tom Hartman can talk about it. I know he's more of a liberal, but the thing is, Americans, can we please stop being retarded? Can we please stop being retarded like this, where we fall for every bullshit campaign promise? Oh my gosh, well, Bernie Sanders was going to give us this, but now Biden's taking up some of those issues. He's not going to do diddly. He's not going to change the vast majority of the country. He isn't. I mean, he can talk all day about whatever sort of fei-hua he wants to, but it's like, I mean, to me, I'm somewhat jaded, to say the least. I'm black-pilled. Maybe we'll just say jaded. I'm not going to believe, oh, well, he's going to change everything. No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that. And I think people who fall into this trap, you're no better than the conspiracy theorists that you claim to be against. You are nothing but a hypocrite. That's my view. Purely hypocrisy. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. And, of course, you'll see people like, in Jason Unruh's chat where it's just like, is America going to become full-on fascist? And it's just, stop being a pussy. Can you just stop being a pussy for 5 minutes and just be like, can you wake up and be like, judges have pushed back on Trump. The National Guard has pushed back on Trump. Mayors have pushed back. So many people have pushed back. Why do you think? I mean, it's just utter bollocks right now. I do. I think it's utter bollocks, as the British say. Absolute fei-hua to think that things are going to change. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe I will be. I will leave myself open. That's why I put, as of, September 8th, 2020, because I wanted to cover my ass. But the thing is, I really don't believe that Trump is going to refuse to leave. I really don't. Oh, well, I didn't want to lose. So what? It's just utterly ridiculous. It's just, people act like it's the end of the world. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. To me, people give far too much credence to how much power the president of the United States has. Give far, far, far too much power. It's the same thing when people assume that the United States controls everything, or even, the Jews. It's just blown out of proportion. Completely blown out of proportion. Maybe I'm just too far gone, but I can't be a hypocrite and, expect that, me as someone who used to be, at least into watching some of the truthers and whatnot that believed, the earth is flat or something like that, that you have become those same, that the left or the hashtag resistance folks have became that same brand of person where they're just like, oh, well, it's just utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. That's my view. Like I said, it is 3:00 in the morning. I just wanted to get something. I wanted to get a project done, and I did. Because it's always best to do it at 2 a.m. Currently watching your Contra video. Oh, thanks. It's not brilliant. I'll be honest. I know it's not brilliant, Kareem, but I hope you enjoy it. It is cringe. That is the last time I do a ContraPoints video. I'm gonna stick to the usual folks that I get at. People like Justin King or AKA Bo the Fifth Column, or someone like Innuendo Studios, Ian Danskin. I'm gonna stick with them, or I'll just put up my Vosh clips. Put up the Vosh clips. I got some spicy Vosh clips where, okay, I'll tell you this right now, just to set the mood a little bit. He was talking with a conservative, heavy quotes, who was basically talking about, Lukashenko bad. Very hard to watch. It is. But yeah, Lukashenko bad. We need, is it, and then of course, all the, Vosh just let this fool go on and on. I mean, it's unbelievable. But I mean, I guess he kind of agreed with them, so he's just like, yeah. And basically, he asked him, what sort of economy does Belarus have? And he said, oh, I don't know. He did all this and, spurred out and, really went off on Lukashenko. And then he didn't even know what happened. Yeah. If he does refuse to leave the office, it would cause a civil war, and that would be based. Yeah. It would. We have to remember is that people are just looking for appeasement. And that's all. They want things to go back to the way they were. That's really all it is. It's just like, we want Obama again. We want people to come back to, appeasement. We want basically we just want someone that can speak nicely and doesn't say any harmful things. That's all it is. That's all that, I mean, you could simplify the Biden vote into that simple thing of, we don't want people, we don't want our president to say bad things about people. We don't like that. It hurts our feelings. That's all it is. And that's not, once again, I just want to make sure here, that's not me defending Trump. That's just me saying is that, as people have said, he is doing the work of acceleration. He's doing the work of acceleration by, demolishing aspects of the United States government, including the United States Postal Service. As much as I don't like that, but the thing is that I think it has to be done eventually. Why just slowly drag it out? Why not, get some accelerant on there somehow, But that's my view anyway. Like I say, I think I've said my piece on that once again. But yeah, that was just kind of a shorty video. I know Red Dundonian, I'm sure that, you woke up not too long ago or something. And I'm not sure about Kareem Moop or Jimmy Whisper. I'm not sure, but I think I've said my piece, basically. I think it's ridiculous to be like, oh, well, this is ridiculous, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've just, I've clicked out, yeah. Heil Trump, Heil Biden, yeah, exactly. Acceleration equals tranny. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I know that you've had some issues with that Power Politics Discord, and that's fair. Like I say, I just steal their memes. I go in there and steal memes. That's all I do on Discord, though. Anyway, I just steal memes and steal the videos. It's been a while since I've been on Discord. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow. I treat going to Discord like I'm going to the mall or something. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow. That's how I treat it. Oh boy, I don't know. I think that's about it, though. Really, I think I've said my piece. So I guess I'll give a shout out to everyone, though. Surprised I got 5 people. There you go. Power Politics. I don't know if you've heard of Julie. Julie 333, an accelerationist. Well, it's either that or one of his other comrades that runs a Discord. It's a Discord server. It's a Discord server where they say cringe stuff, basically, and they say the N-word, to try to be edgy. That's basically it. Yeah, it's not really worth talking about that much, but yeah. Oh, the heck with it, though. I will show you that. Let me go ahead and I'll show you a clip. Why not? I'll go ahead and do that while I got 6 people in here. What the hell? Let me see here. I wrote it down. I always write it. I'm just telling you my methodology here. is that I when I hear some cringe clips from Vosh, I always bring them up. That way, I can just go ahead and clip around that. And a lot of the time, there's good spicy little tidbits in there. So let me go ahead and I'll show y'all this because the video is just unlisted, and I won't be able to download it yet. But I'll go ahead and show y'all. What the hell? What is it? 3:15. We'll go ahead and go. There we go. That's close enough. Okay. I'll go ahead and share the screen. We'll go ahead and do that right quick here. Brand. We got to go up here. Overlay. And we're going to share the screen. Share. Boop. And boop. And boop. Okay. Here we go. Close enough. Here we go.
Term since 2004 where opposition candidates even held a seat, had a MP in the House. Mm-hmm. So you can see how this is hilariously, just very obviously, a dictatorship. I'll send you the...
I don't know why this guy is so obsessed with Lukashenko. I really don't. It's like Vosh allowed him to talk for like a freaking hour. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous that he would let him do that. If it was somebody else, he would have cut him off. If it was someone like me who did go on there one time, and he cut me off about after maybe 15 minutes because he didn't want to hear it. He just like cut. Such is the way. All right, let's go ahead and play this.
This is actually from 2019. This is a video that's been shared around a lot that shows vote stuffing. That happened during the 2019 election. Now, this person questions, they're speaking in Russian, so you can't really like understand what they're saying. But basically, he goes to this woman who holds a ton of ballots, change it from a person. Well, basically, can I read you the direct quote of what he said in a hockey rink while he was playing hockey during the pandemic?
Please.
Let's see if I can find it. Okay. So basically, Belarus is one country in Europe basically has no restrictions now, 0. And this is the response he gave when a reporter asked him about it.
Mm-hmm.
There are no viruses here. Have you noticed any viruses in the air? He then goes on to suggest hockey could protect him from COVID due to how cold it was. He also said at a different occasion that saunas, vodka, and hard work are also cures.
So what? Yeah. I mean, Belarus, yeah, the last democracy in Europe. Yeah, because he's from the CIA. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I mean, this is all just Fed stuff at this point.
It sounds like an amalgamation of every bad take I've ever heard from like a boomer, you know?
Yeah.
I've talked about this before, but one of the reasons I think why COVID-19 has proved such a difficult project for strongmen around the world is because dealing with a pandemic involves sort of recognizing the overwhelming power of nature and taking conciliatory measures to scale back your strength and your control over society in an effort to wear it out. And
how does that work? Because the thing is that DPRK, as far as I know, has had 1 or 2 cases. I can't, I mean, show it in the chat, but it's like, this is an absolute straw man. Oh my gosh. Lukashenko said some idiotic things. So, most strongmen are bad. It's like, well, Kim Jong-un seems to still be ruling his country because he locked down his country and didn't allow anyone to leave or let anyone come in. So, they also had an immense spraying program. The same thing that you could say about China. China did an excellent job. Because what did they do? They locked people in their homes. They arrested people as they needed to, and they consistently sprayed. They wiped everything down. It was efficient to sell. The United States, while we were just floundering in the business, like, what's going on? So what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, Kim Jong-un dealt with the best. Yeah, exactly, he did. So this is utter bollocks. That's the phrase for tonight. It's utter bollocks. It's utter bollocks when he just says fei hua like this, thinking that strong men don't know how to take care of the country. Apparently they do. I don't really care about what Lukashenko does necessarily. I think that he looks like a Chad dude and everything else, but it's like, overall Belarus, as far as I know, is still it's still somewhat market socialist. So there you go.
And that's completely antithetical to the interests of a strongman. You know, to them, they can never take like a break. They can never say we need to be calm. We need to be patient. They can
Yeah,
never say
base
these things. They have
isolationism.
to
Yeah,
keep their
exactly. In what world is COVID a failure of strongmen, aka real leaders? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is what he's saying, where it's just like, oh, the strongmen aren't willing to deal with the realities of it. What the hell are you talking about? Once again, yeah, anti-nationalism is mental disorder. It really is. It really, absolutely is. Especially considering the fact, it's like, the United States is one of the hardest hit countries. Because of course we allow people in, everything else, and of course we also got screwed over by, you know, Chinese stealing our masks and bringing them back, and then that's a whole other story. I mean, that's just cope at this point. That's just cope. I move on. Good for China. Don't hate the player, hate the game. All right, go ahead.
population in a constant fervor of projected masculinity. So I imagine, at least from what you just said, that seems to be the case with this guy as well.
Fervor and masculinity. Oh, it never ends, doesn't it? It's just, this is why you get the eye rolling, because it's like it's the same arguments over and over. It's just packaged slightly differently. It's just, go ahead.
Plays a lot of hockey. He recently, during the protests, one of his responses to it was carrying an AK-47 with him.
I know that was base.
In his hand. It's purposefully.
Well, more specifically, he carried an AKSU Krinkov. Actually, he also had his 14-year-old son carrying an AK with full gear. So yeah, pretty based, I would say. So yeah, go ahead, loser. All right.
So reporters would see it as kind of like and I read it as a threat personally. I don't think he's just carrying it for fun. And I think it's a threat directly at a certain, protesters. Like, hey,
we've taken measures against COVID. I've doubled my security.
I don't. Yeah. Wait, he's not weak. Exactly.
We shoot at the air. We shoot at the COVID. But he also like went in like a helicopter and like went over the city. Like, I don't see no protesters down there. Guess they're scared. And he's just in the part of the city where there isn't, protesters. He's very like macho man kind of dictator. He's always kind of been like that.
That sounds like a take like straight out of like a conservative YouTube today. You know what I mean? You can see that like from Tim Pool or something like that. You know what I mean?
Wow. That is it. Go ahead. I can't even comment on that.
I would say that he definitely is. I feel like if he was a YouTuber, he'd be ranting about soy at the moment.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. We're going to be hearing about soy for decades. It's actually a wonder that none of these dipshits.
Talk about just, a circle jerk. This is absolutely just a circle jerk. This is why Vosh, I think, let him talk, because he just has such a hate boner for Belarus. I'm guessing this has got to be either, CIA or some sort of Fed type of thing, or just some sort of hugely disgruntled. He could be a CIA agent too. I was going to say that he must be the son of like a disgruntled Belarusian family or something like that. Some expat Belarusian family that now lives in the United States. Because this guy has such a strong hate boner. I'm going to probably find where he starts talking to him and just use these clips. Because golly, this guy, unbelievable. But yeah. Just watching this mob guy, can't watch ContraPoints. No, don't worry about it. Yeah. And someone clipped that clip of Thought Slime basically complaining about how you can't be weak in the revolution. Oh, maybe I should. I'll dig through his videos. I really don't like digging through his, but yeah, maybe I'll look through that. Go ahead.
Shits have like banned soy from their countries yet. It's some sort of performative gesture against the feminization of men.
Actually, that's an interesting story when it comes to dairy products and Belarus. And this actually gets into some geopolitics about Belarus and why this is so a complicated issue, and why you're not going to, from Mike Pompeo and others, you might actually not see a lot of direct support for protesters or any sanctions placed on Lukashenko himself.
Okay, interesting. Continue.
Lukashenko.
This feels just so written, doesn't it? It feels very prepared to me. Yeah, Belarusian gusano. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. This is just
Might be dumb when it comes to biology, math, basically everything. But he's
I do have to say this though, is expats are cringe. I should always say that. Expats in general are cringe. And it's like, we can all say it's just absolute cringe, yeah. I saw it on Comrade Pierre Trudenk video on iDubbbz drama. Okay. I'll probably dig for it though. Go ahead. I just want to show this other bit here.
really smart when it comes to one thing, and that's geopolitics. In fact, I'd say he has maneuvered himself into being a modern, I wouldn't even, it's kind of almost insulting to Tito to say this, but he's maneuvered himself into a Tito-like position between the West and Russia. While
Are you really going to compare Tito to Lukashenko? And this is what they're doing. This is some galaxy brain stuff. Once again, I'm not the most smartest guy in the world, but are you really going to compare Tito, who helped to defeat Nazis and kick them out of Yugoslavia, to Lukashenko? Are you really going to do that? They are. Go ahead.
the Belarusian economy is extremely reliant on Russian imports and exports. They get around 50% of their imports from Russia, and they export 50% of their products to Russia. They also want to make sure not to be too reliant on Russia. Lukashenko is extremely concentrated on keeping his own power, and they do not want to become another Odessa, another Crimea. They don't want to be slowly annexed by Putin and Russia. There was even a time there was talks at one point about this union that would kind of be like where they would have a similar currency and all these things. And Lukashenko even once in his own head thought maybe he could be the head of the union, meaning he could actually control Russia, because this is how much like ambitious this guy was geopolitically. Eventually,
Yeah, exactly. They are. Yeah, this is just absolute. This guy has got to be some sort of fed, because he goes on and on about this stuff, and then it's like he has, like I say, maybe I'll skip a little bit ahead, but
that was an unattainable goal.
I could not listen to all this crap. I was like, oh my
distance
gosh.
himself to a certain extent from Putin to not be too under his control. And so what he does is he plays the two powers against each other. And what example would be in what we call the Milk War? Are you familiar with the Milk War?
No, I'm absolutely not familiar with
this guy. I feel like if I saw this guy in the street and he started talking to me about Belarus, I would punch him in the mouth. And I'm not saying that as a threat or anything. I'm just saying is that if this pompous jagoff ever came up to me and just started talking to me about Belarus the way he is, have you heard of the Milk War? Oh, well, shit, everybody has. It's just like what me and my mom going back and forth and say. It's like, well, hell, everyone knows about it. We just didn't tell you. God, what? God, I hate that. I hate that sort of attitude. I really do.
the Milk War, and even if I was, I'd want you to explain it anyway.
Even if I sometimes may come off that way, but daggum. I hate arrogance,
so
though.
The Milk War was was not an actual war. It was a trade war. Happened because I think it was 2009. Basically, Russia wanted Belarus to recognize its holdings in Georgia of southern Ossetia. I never pronounced it correctly. Ossetia, I believe it is.
There's an I in there. It's Ossetia. Even I can pronounce it. Jagoff. What the hell? What's your problem, idiot? Golly.
And it's basically occupation of the area, and they wanted Belarus to recognize it as its own little proxy state. It's a conflict they don't know a lot about. Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's just say that Belarus did not fall in line with Russia's demands, and so Belarus has a lot of milk and it likes to export it to Russia. So what Russia did in response to make them cave is said, okay, we're going to block your imports. And so what Lukashenko did is he just went to the Europeans and started exporting milk to Europe. And so, of course, Russia, seeing this, getting concerned about them getting too close to the Europeans, relented, got rid of the sanctions, and then soon after, Lukashenko continued exporting milk to Russia. And he kind of does this back and forth between the Europeans and the Russians constantly to maneuver them off each other so he never gets too close to the other. The Europeans will sometimes get active about human rights or elections or something of that sort, and he'll go closer to the Russians and make sure that they are there to protect and say, yo, this is a totally legitimate election, like what is happening right now. But when Russia tries to make them kind of, hey, maybe we should take another look at that economic union and single currency and all those things we talked about before, then he might move towards the other direction and kind of bounce off the Europeans. Recently, there's been a lot of problems when it comes to this concept where the Russians no longer want to subsidize Belarus with oil, which they're very
All right, hold on. Let me skip ahead a little bit here.
The gas. Have refused to place sanctions directly on Lukashenko, suggesting that they still have that end goal in mind, that kind of realpolitik. Like, well,
this is unbelievable too. This is unbelievable that Vosh would allow someone to talk this long. Normally, he would interrupt him and gish gallop the hell out of him, and it's like he's just letting them talk. So this feels like it's very forced to me. I don't know. Yeah, is he not going to bring up the fact that Belarus is a non-aligned country? Yeah, probably not.
Game, but they've also placed over 30 sanctions on government officials, travel restrictions, and have vocally supported the protest movement. So I think they're kind of hedging their bets here. It's hard to say what exact path they're going to take.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it is a a country of substantial geopolitical importance in its own region that has adversarial relationships with both Russia and EU, but both Russia and the EU have reasons to want to deal with them. And Lukashenko has been fairly effectively navigating this spider's web of geopolitical interests in such a way as to maintain his power, and not overly defer to one side, because to do so would end up upsetting that balance and probably end up losing the benefits of being.
He's done this for 26 years. Even if I would say he still has stronger ties to Russia, at the end of the day.
Gotcha. Okay.
Who counts the amount of years they do? See, that's the whole thing. That's like with girlfriends, right? It's like, oh, we've been dating for 1 year, 2 months, and 3 days. Like, nobody gives a shit like that, dude. I don't count shit like that. I'm like, fuck, I worry about getting through the day. I don't give a fuck. It's like, oh, he's been in power for 26 years. So what? Go ahead.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Okay, so this recently was the 2020 election. Alexander Lukashenko, of course, as always, glorious in his fashion of victory, won with 80% of the vote during a COVID crisis where he said that just drink vodka, Lamau, I don't see no virus in the air. Also, our economy's falling away to the part where, well, it's been kind of going down since 2012. Also, I'm threatening to steal Russia's oil. Also, we're tapping into our natural gas reserves. Yeah, but vote for Mill, 80% of the vote. What a surprise.
Being independent,
busy year, crazy.
Sounds more closer to Russia, so it doesn't become another Libya. Yeah.
It'd be like if
definitely.
Trump went through all of this. Could you imagine Trump going through everything he has and rocking with 80% of the vote? Could you imagine?
Who the fuck is this nigga?
Like it's comical. 80% of the vote though. Not like he barely went and he wins it and he got 80%. Like I'm talking the popular vote right now.
I have never had less faith in the American electorate. Please ask me again after November, and I will give you my answer then. I'm deferring it.
But you can see how
I can see. Yeah, obviously. I mean, I can understand how, given all of that, it's entirely possible. By the way, I feel like sometimes the most
Is this who this fool is?
Most passionate advocates for human liberty are people who have yet tasted it. There are people here in America who are willing to sell their freedom to the government if they know that black folk will get fucked over twice as hard for it. But there are a lot of people. I mean, you got students, everyone out there in Hong Kong.
Oh, this is
what they know is going to happen.
Bruh. He mentioned Hong Kong. Here we go. This is the bit I was waiting for. Go ahead.
Happen to them, people in China, people in autocratic regimes all over the world, who I think have sometimes, maybe not for the whole population, but sometimes a much greater appreciation for how bad things can get. And I think under those circumstances, they'd have a reason.
Bro, this is literally color revolution, which his argument against color revolution is ridiculous. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say from looking at my thing is when it comes to protest movements is there's a lot of it seems to, when it comes to the political spectrum, that everybody's a hypocrite when it comes to like supporting protest movements. I'm a conservative. I've loved the Hong Kong protesters. But these American BLM rioters, they're ridiculous, right? Or you'll have somebody who's like, well, yeah, I support the BLM protests. They're the best, but those Hong Kong CIA shills need to like get down and kiss the boot.
Yeah,
And it's totally
the real enlightened position is not liking the Hong Kong protests because they're CIA, and also not liking BLM because it's CIA. That's the real above it all take.
I love that. I love that. Don't you? Yeah. I love that. I love that sort of attitude. Just like, well, they all think it's CIA. Oh, how dare they think that? Golly. Oh, it's gonna be funny when they're just like, well, COINTELPRO did happen, but it's not. It doesn't work that way today.
Yeah, my position has always been to. I think I do believe in internationalism
Yeah.
when it comes to this extent. I believe we should support the protests in Chile, there's protests in Iraq, the protests in Haiti, there's the protests in Sudan when it came to the.
You support the protests in Iraq, so you support Hataib Hezbollah. I mean, if you do, okay. I mean, you know, okay. I don't think you really do. Once again, is see this is the whole thing. Once again, brain dead Americans. Once again, I do hate Americans. I do, even though I am one. I do hate Americans because we are so retarded, and that includes me. I do realize that, but we are retarded. And it's like, oh, I support the Iraqi protests. Oh, you support Hatib Hezbollah? Well, I support this little group here. No, then you don't support it. Then jack off. It's the same type of thing where it's just like, oh, I support the revolution in Russia. You support the Bolsheviks? Oh no, I support Kerensky. Look, get out of here, idiot.
The Blue Movement in Sudan. Of course, the protests in Hong Kong, the protests in America. We should support the protests in Belarus. I don't think an imaginary line on a map dictates someone's humanity, and we need to support them across the board.
No.
But it seems that when it comes to these conflicts, when it comes to protests around the world like these,
I think this is that Dylan Burns guy. I think that's who he was talking to. Dylan Burns, who's apparently some YouTube guy. Let me see here. I'll go ahead and show y'all right quick because I pulled up his Twitter for a minute. That's what I was looking at. Let me see here. It's coming up. Coming up. Come on. Anytime. It's taking its sweet time. Support all the protest material conditions? What's that exactly? It's utterly ridiculous. Utterly empty of any value whatsoever. It's empty of any actual rhetoric whatsoever. I mean, look at this. This is the guy. Yeah, this is who that. I think this is who Vosh is talking to. This slack-jawed fool right here. Looks like a tranny, kind of, but yeah, daggone. Oh, it's Twitch. No wonder. How do you call yourself? Well, I was going to say, how do you call yourself a conservative and support gay rights? But of course, yeah, conservatives don't conserve anything. Yeah. I spoke at the city council meeting on the Fulton v. the city of Philadelphia. This case is of extreme importance. Yeah. This is gay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is who he was talking about. Oh, yeah, it's got to be. Because, look, Belarus opposition leader detained at Ukraine border a day after her disappearance. We don't care. I don't care about that. These are the same people who will say nothing about Ukraine. And I know that that's whataboutism, but I think it's important to talk about. Because these are the same people who say, oh, we need regime change in Belarus. And yet they will say nothing about the absolute shit show of an election in Ukraine. They will say nothing about Zelensky. They will say nothing about the Azov battalion or the neo-Nazis that are getting support from Israel. They will say nothing, not a word about that. And that's the hypocrisy that exists. I don't know that all they're going to say is, why do you do that? It's just, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Support liberals no matter what. Exactly. I'm a conservative. No, you're not. I mean, just call yourself a liberal and call it a day. Same thing with Vosh. Just call yourself a liberal. Can you please just call yourself a liberal and stop playing around? But he's not going to. I know. Go ahead.
Belarusian protests. It really, still, you'll always find someone who will shill for the authoritarian regime. In this case, I would say it was Ben Norton from the from the gray zone, who was probably the biggest shill.
Oh,
Lukashenko,
please.
Who, right when
Look.
the protest started, he just called it another color revolution
Yeah,
by the United
it
States.
is. Yep, absolutely. Yep. I hate to be a rubbernecker or whatever you want to call it, but yeah. As much as I don't agree with everything Ben Norton says, I think that he is correct. Yeah, it's absolutely a color revolution. But here is Vosh's brilliant response to what a color revolution is, or anyone that talks about it. Go ahead.
Nice. Is there any
They
evidence
say
to
nothing in
support
Poland.
the
Yep,
idea
exactly.
that it
They don't.
is just another color revolution by the United States?
I would
Yes.
say it would be difficult to prove it. I have seen no evidence up to this point that there's been any CIA ops or anything like that. I would say the West are more supportive of the protest movement, but that's like the closest you could get to evidence of it. I would say that, and even if there was support for it, like the United States certainly supported the Hong Kong protesters, does that not make the demands of said protesters valid anyway? Even if
What? So what base is that basically what his response is? So what if the CIA is involved? Is that what I'm hearing? I'm pretty retarded, I will admit, but is that what I heard? Holy crap. Go ahead.
if there was,
Do you think
So
the
what,
term
basically?
color revolution is ever used in good faith anymore? I understand
No.
that historic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Front me there. I understand that historic. Okay. Of course, America still engages in regime change. Of course. I mean, we literally just tried and failed to do it. In Venezuela.
Don't try to use an accent. Just say Venezuela. And also, you didn't mention Bolivia, did you? They don't mention Bolivia. See, I always love that, where they will, talk about one country, but then they won't talk about another. Very selective. It's almost like it's cherry picking.
And
don't get me started on that operation. It's
right.
quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Right. Well, it was a
Ben Norton
fucking
on
comedy shit
Lukashenko's
show,
personal payroll.
Guaido at the
Yeah.
club at 4 p.m.
Right.
on his phone.
No.
Like, you guys said you'd show up.
All right. Sorry about that.
Doing it. America's behind everything, and these people are actually just America-backed orbals, and the real people.
If they wanted to bring a real
X
counter
country
argument, they would talk about the history of
stand
Belarus and
beside
Democratic
them.
Republic,
But the
the
thing with
foreign post-World War
Lukashenko
I.
is,
Yeah, exactly.
even like
No,
all
they
the
won't.
usual people, the thing about Lukashenko that's really hilarious is the usual people that would come up and say that have mostly just been quiet and haven't been saying much. Even they know it's comical for even them to say it. When Ben Norton said that, it was met with reactions of just hilarious, just like chortles across the land, like it's even the most ML would have to just take a step back and be like, well,
It's stupid
yeah,
contrarianism, really.
yeah.
I love that. Go ahead.
So when it comes to the actual protest movement, the protest movement has, of course, after the election, it was rejected by the opposition. That this election was free, fair, and that this is the actual results of it.
Mhm.
And so what ended up happening is they started protesting on the streets. They started, getting people out there. But the response they have received has been particularly brutal. Many, of course, have been detained. Some have been killed. Tanks have been placed outside during protests to guard governmental buildings. There have been tons of beatings. There have been alleged torture, and I have heard certain audio, which is extremely horrific. And I can basically tell you that I'm 100% certain that the Lukashenko regime has engaged in torture basically throughout its entire existence.
Yeah, I'm sure Saddam Hussein, tortured everybody too. Yeah. I love that sort of thing. I love that. I love that sort of attitude. A guy who's not even in Belarus, who's not even in Europe, period. Not even in, not even in fucking Ukraine. But he's going to say, oh, well, without a doubt, they've done it because I heard some audio that was really bad. I heard some bad audio. So,
There have been factory walkouts. Leadership has been detained. Of course, Lukashenko has shown strongman attitudes with carrying the gun around and
Oh my
flying.
gosh, he carried a gun around. Holy crap. Are you going to make trouble for the now dead Charlton Heston for holding a flintlock rifle by saying you can pry it out of my cold dead hands? Was that violent too? Bruh, get the idiot. And I know that was back when Charlton Heston was alive and when he was president of the NRA. Go ahead.
Over Independence Square and his helicopter, tear gas has been deployed. But I'd love to show you a particular example of a walkout that happened. So look, well, see if I can find. I have some of the ending audio. I don't have the beginning audio on it because I won't.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm saying that this is the best chance they've ever had. I'll certainly say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I recognize that. Yeah. Revolutions or attempts at revolutions are
Yeah.
very
Okay. Yeah. There you go. That was disappointing to say the least. But yeah. So watch out for those clips. I'm going to find the clip of all that. Basically, I'm just going to listen to him talking to Dylan Burns, which is going to save me tons because I'm not going to watch all 5 hours of that bullshit. I'm not going to. Some of the clips are worth it, but overall, it's just repeats. So I'm going to listen to what good old Dylan Burns says. Just chop those up and find the most spicier ones, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe 3 or 4 videos I can take out of that. And you can watch those clips and see how that goes. And but yeah, that's about it though. Okay, now I'm really done. I figure I would give y'all some bait there, give y'all a little tidbit of what I'm going to use for those videos, and y'all can enjoy and cringe at that and everything else. I think with that, I think I've said my piece. Like I say, I think hopefully later today, after I get some sleep, I will be reading the Green Book by the legendary, of course, may he rest in peace, General Gaddafi or Colonel Gaddafi. So I will be reading the Green Book. I think it is small enough to put in your back pocket, so the text is very small. That's just cope. But I will try to do my best to actually read it. So hopefully, I did promise I was going to do that today, and then I got caught up in trying to do, or yesterday I should say, I was going to do that but then I got caught up with the Tupac stuff, and then everyone was like, you CIA, and it's like, well, okay, fair enough. And then we did something else, so it all works out. It's all good. Like I say, I go with these streams at the seat of my pants, and I'm not necessarily attached to anything too deeply. Anyway, just to let y'all know. So, of course, I'll thank No More Libs, Please, 1975, Rendondonian, Ole, Max Hessen, even though his comment is kind of cringe, but you know what? I'll let that go. Of course, Base Luca. Oh, yeah, Jimmy Whisper and Kareem Moop as well. Want to join? They probably went to sleep or are probably looking at something else, and that is perfectly all right. And I think that is it. So yeah, I'll keep it there. Y'all have a good rest of the day, or good night, or good day, however, whatever time it is. It's too damn late where I'm at, so I'm gonna keep it there. Y'all have a good one, and goodbye. Find a good ending to this thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Why not?